What up, good people? We are back. Real Vision TV. It's your host. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Turn those notifications on. And before this video is out, make sure you smash that like button. So without further ado, let's get right to it. We got Jake Lang here on the left of the screen, as well as Bruce Carter on the right. And this heated discussion is clearly about the incident that took place with Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Just to give a little backdrop history on these two gentlemen. Jake Lang was one of the January 6th pardoned characters. And if I can recall, Bruce Carter, he runs black programs where he actually campaigned for Trump and getting black voters to be on board with Republicans this recent election. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the video, and we'll be sure to give our reaction throughout. Let's get it.
I know the kid said that he admitted to stabbing him, and unless the kid came at him with lethal force, there's no reason to plunge a dagger into his heart like that.
100%.
There's no reason.
100%. But have you seen the body cam footage, or have you seen any security footage to reduce violence in black communities?
Thank you. I stand with you, sir, on that.
Basis. But today, I'm here on behalf of the father, Jeff Metcalf.
Okay.
And what he's asking you is to not use his son's image or likeness in what you're doing. You can do what you do, but that's not what he wants his son tied to.
Okay.
Out of respect for that family.
Now, I would ask Jeff Metcalf if he would be bold enough to act like a father of a deceased young man that was murdered, instead of being somebody suppressed, worried that he's going to spark the next race riots.
Now, I'm going to pause right there. This character, Jake Lang, obviously has an agenda, right? How are you going to get on camera and tell a man that's grieving over the passing of his son that he should be bold? He should be bold. Characters like Jake Lang, he's out here touting his white privilege because he thinks that Donald Trump's language matches with his white ideology, right? Right? He can pretend all he wants, but we know underneath that horrible cheap suit is a racist man, right? It's a racist man. He has an ideology that white people are superior, and he really don't care about anybody else's agenda. Although he may appear to come off different, we all know that he's disingenuous and he's a fraud. Let's get it.
Or some type of thing. He needs to stand for righteousness, not for the consequences of righteous actions always need to be taken seriously. He needs to be righteous before he is fearful. He is acting out of fear, not out of righteousness. He should have been on the top of the bus today. He should have been standing shoulder to shoulder with me.
Are you a father?
No, I am not.
I'm a father. Hold on.
Amen.
I'm a father. As a father, there's this thing called grief. So let me tell you what's going on in his house. He's getting swatted. His only other son.
Who is swatting him? Which community?
No.
Meanwhile, he just asked him if he's a father. Jake Lang is not a father, but he's out here trying to give insight on what a father should do in a time where he's grieving over his lost son. Make that make sense, people.
We don't know the community, but it's happening. That's on the police to find. Secondly, he has a son who's a twin, who his son died in his arms. So that means he needs to navigate that. Then his son, who's his only son, is getting death threats. So as a father, his hands is full. So the last thing he wants to be tied to is having this complex of race. So yes, violence is bad. Young black men are getting killed every day by young black men across this country.
Yes, but I'm not a member of that community. I'm a member of my community, and my community is being victimized by the community of violent black, absolute degenerates.
But here's the problem.
So, as you can hear, he called black people degenerates. He didn't say some. He said black people are degenerates. Meanwhile, he stands before a black man, right? Who, by the way, calls himself an American. He don't call himself a black man You guys will see that later in the video. But this guy just called black people degenerates. This is how he truly feels, and there's no sugarcoating it.
Degenerates.
When you stand up in the name of God, there's one body.
Amen.
And if you're not a part of that body,
I can read statistics, so I'm also a pragmatic human being.
So
I understand when there's a problem, it needs to be addressed head on. If you tiptoe around a problem, that's how you get to the end result.
So your
of
biggest
this.
concern is the loss of white life by black people?
No, that's
Is that
not my
your
big.
concern?
I have
The
concern.
concern is a repeating pattern. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going on and on and on and on. And we just
First
can't
of all, my
ignore it
biggest-
any longer.
So we're going to pause right here. Take a look at this character. Now, this character, we know he was to make sense out of the way he thinks. He's one of these unusual blacks, right? He's one of the ones that almost appear like he had bleach spilt on him, right? The color never changed. Its language changed and its ideology changed. He totally does not believe he is a person of color. He does not believe he's black. He doesn't believe any of the above. He just believes he's white. He believes he's white. He's hanging around with these white fellas here, running around, defending their purpose. Not keeping in mind that they still look at him as the N-word. Not keeping in mind that they still look at him as the N-word. So he could run around here sounding like this, but we know how it ends for characters like this.
It is, if it stops, we're good.
So I have a
Let me
question
answer
for
that
you.
question.
Do you
My
believe
biggest
more
concern-
white people are killed by white people or by black people?
Listen, by strangers, it's 2-1. Every single race in domestic issues, because we live amongst each other and uncles kill uncles or drunk at barbecues and stuff like that, it's always the same amount.
So
It-
your
listen, let me
response is this.
let me
Is your
respond,
response
please.
this, that-
Please let me
hold on,
respond.
Is your
sir.
response that
I'm
Mr.
saying that
Metcalf needs to get on your bus and tell people
If
that
I was
his
him,
son
I would
was
do
killed,
it.
but he's not you. So what I'm saying
But I'm
is,
telling you,
so what
I'm
saying
somebody
is,
that stands for
if-
what I believe
if
in,
your
and I don't
goal-
cower when it's
if
time to
your-
stand.
If your desire
It's because
is
of
to
fear. Let's
My
be honest.
desire
It's
is that
because he's
another
afraid.
Austin Metcalf does not happen next week.
Like,
And
guys-
if I was his father, I would stand
But you're not.
righteously to say,
But you're
yes,
not.
He's
but
not,
I'm a
but
man.
we all have common
I'm a
sense,
white
and we
man.
know.
for his father.
Hold on, we know.
No,
I'm not.
speaking for white men. in
I'm
this
not
country.
going to
I'm
say.
speaking
Look,
for white people
hold on,
in
hold
this
on.
country.
Are you a
Jake,
father?
Hold on one
Are
second.
you a father?
Hold on one second.
Are you a father?
I'm not. But listen,
Okay,
this.
so-
Another character who's not a father, but he wants to tell everybody how a father should act.
I know I'm not done talking yet. Hold on.
Who are not dealing with grief. You've talked for an hour. So if you want to address, I can give you after I give this message. The bottom line is this. You have a father that's out of respect asking you not to put his son's face in a place. How do you say you're going to represent people when you can't respect the will of the people?
No, no,
Let
he's
me,
not-
hey, let me
that's not
respond,
true.
guys. There's too much peanut gallery.
That's
said
not
what
what
now?
his father said. His father
I've
did
never
not
heard
say
that.
that.
Can we please let me respond?
His father's not.
Let
No,
me
listen.
respond.
It's, no,
Hey,
his father because of fear.
I'm having a conversation between you and I. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Austin Metcalf is no longer Austin Metcalf. He is a symbol. He is a symbol.
See, this is what characters like Jake Lang try to do. He's out here using the likeness of a young man whose father does not want any part of what Jake Lang is doing, the propaganda he's spewing, and the rhetoric that he's talking. And what Bruce Carter's about to do is get that man on the phone right now to shut the joker, Jake Lang, down. And just basically just let him know, listen, you're trash. The nonsense you're doing is trash. And I don't want no part of it.
Of young white people being predatorized and victimized every single day, living in fear. He is living in fear. Our people in this country are living in fear. Austin Metcalf is no longer just his son.
Hold on, Jeff.
He said he's living in fear. This white boy said he's living in fear. We know what the fear is about with white boys, right? The fear, listen, the consolation fear for white folks in general is that they have this mentality that black people out of the blue is going to start doing stuff to them. See, the problem is the reason why they have that fear was self-inflicted fear, right? This is fear that they created for themselves when they decided to hurt our people, rob our people, steal from our people, kill our people, slaughter our people, and rape our people. We want to take that up, clean that up for YouTube. They chose to grape our people. So when you do these type of things to people, bad things you expect to happen to you. So they walk around with this fear, like all black people want to do something to them. It's hilarious that the perpetrators turn victims.
Do me one favor, because there seems to be an issue that you're okay with Austin's name being plastered with this particular movement. Now, I've already addressed that. So now I want you to say one more time
protest, not
that
the movement.
do you agree with your son's name and face being attached to this movement?
Hey, Jeff Metcalf, this is Jake Lang here. I wanted to talk to you and not be
Jeff?
led into a question. This is
Hello?
an illegal argument. This is called leading.
Do you agree with your
Jeff,
son?
can I have a conversation with you,
No,
or do you want a
could have
leading
called
argument?
him before that. You could have called him.
I've been reaching out.
Now, this is hilarious. This is what makes it even funnier, folks. If Jake Lang is as serious as he's talking, right? Is as serious as he's talking, you would have thought that Jake Lang was in contact with Austin Metcalf's father. You would think that he would have his contact information, right? After plastering his boy's image all over websites and spewing propaganda, using his son's face and likeness for his own agenda. You would think he has his information, but no. Who has his information? Bruce Carter does. Because Austin Metcalf's father knows how to communicate with people that have common sense. He's not going to communicate with people like this who are followers. They go off the rail. They're drifters. They just follow. They're not leaders. And Jake Lang would make you think he's a leader, and he's far from it.
I'm one of the biggest figures in America.
Jeff,
Nobody's ever
I've given
texted
your
me
message.
from,
I've given you your message.
I
And here's
texted
the
all
response.
family members, everybody I could
I've
find.
given you your message, and here's the response.
You've not given my
This
message.
guy
You've
said
given
no.
your message.
What he said
What's
was
your
this.
issue with the event?
What he said was this. He said that you, as a father, should be on the bus with him, delivering the message that he's delivering. Unfortunately, he's not a father, and the gentleman with is not a father. Maybe they don't understand what loss is. But at the end of the day, I've given your message.
You understand what loss is.
And they thought that it wasn't your
Let
message.
me have 1 minute of my message
Call
to Jeff
him.
Metcalf.
Call him.
Okay, what's
Okay,
his
this is
number?
bullshit,
He's on the phone right now.
So, Jeff,
He's heard him. He said, what's his number? Bruce Carter told him to call him. He said, what's his number? If you was Austin Metcalf's father and you had this character, Jake Lang, plastering your kid's face on websites and on social media platforms, and you have no communication with him, how would you feel? You would feel like there's some fool running around on the street taking advantage of your son. And that's exactly what's happening here. Jake Lang is not genuine at all. He's doing this for his own purpose, for his own, I think he's even trying to campaign eventually to run for the Senate seat that Marco Rubio had in the state of Florida. Now, for the life of me, I don't know how he should be able to take part in this or even get that seat because his mental is completely off. He has his own agenda going on, and it's not a good one. He's a closet supremacist who tries to pretend like he's for the people. And he's really not.
do you, huh?
This is not a good faith discussion.
Okay, hold on. Here's Jeff. Hold on. So, Jeff, go ahead. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey, Jeff, it's Jake Lang here.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Jeff, first of all, my entire heart rests in your hands. I would be in my position, not even as somebody even knew your son, but somebody
All
that
in
shares
that.
the same understanding. I grew up as a 17-year-old young white man too, and I grew up in fear of my life around.
See how he's changing this now into this whole race, this race baiting, that he was some white kid that can relate and he was in fear for his life with black people. He's a closet racist. That's exactly what he is. And with closet racists, if you give them enough string, they'll eventually pull. And when they end up pulling, you end up starting to see exactly who they really are. Right? Because when they start talking too much, it truly shows who they really are. I don't know how these characters, man, are still out here on these streets. And you know what? I blame Trump for this, right? Because Trump, although there's things we like over here in Real Vision, you know, we rock with Trump on, but there's things we don't rock with him on. And when he did those pardons, he should have taken the initiative to go through them so that he can source out the people that should be pardoned versus the people that shouldn't be pardoned. And in our public opinion here at Real Vision, we believe that Jake Lang should have not been pardoned. Now we're going to continue on into the conversation with Austin Metcalf's father, talking to Mr. Lang here, who wants to make this about himself.
Black people because they were killing and robbing people around me all the time. And I don't understand, as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son. There is an epidemic problem in this country, and your voice could be one of the loudest voices in this country, but you've chosen to recoil out of fear and continue the suppression. Why will you not stand with me and with the rest of the people? We're not calling for racial divide. We're not calling for hatred. We're saying 350,000 attacks on white people by black people a year in this country is wrong. Why can't you stand that and say with that? Maybe you can. Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today.
Are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it.
You hear that? You hear what the Metcalf's father just tells this character? I'll bring it back.
God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today.
Are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
My son, let me finish. I gave you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
You are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
That's the problem. You've been submitted.
Hold on, hey, Jeff.
You've been submitted.
I'll handle it from here.
You've been submitted, sir.
You're not gonna make
If
this
we were
back
all,
down.
if we were all
You're not gonna
of
make
your
this back
nature,
down.
Guys, listen.
You're
Let me
not
say
gonna
this.
shame
what a
us.
weak
You're not
man.
Do you know who you're talking to? You don't, do you?
I'm talking to a black man.
You don't. No, you're not.
See how he says, I'm talking to a black man. Why can't he just say he's talking to a man? Right? How come he just can't say he's talking to a man? See, he wants to make a clear distinction between the two. Mr. Jake Lang himself. He wants to make a clear distinction where he's trying to distinguish who's better than who and who's better than the other, right? And he does it in these little undertones, but we're not fools over here at Real Vision. We can sense a real bigot when we see one and hear one.
You sit here, you talk about Trump.
But I am. You're not
Google
gonna
my
make me
name
back
and
down.
Trump. No. When you do that, my name is Bruce.
I agree with black males winning,
Google that.
but they're not winning
but
right
what
now.
You're doing,
they're becoming
What
degenerates
you're doing
and murdering white
you're
people.
not helping America. You're no more patriotic than I am. No
Being
way.
silent is
Where
not
were you
helping.
on January
You've been
6th?
silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you on January 6th?
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
You see how he turns this into where were you on January 6th? He thinks showing up for January 6th makes you a patriot. Trump himself would tell you that's not the only thing that makes you a patriot, right? He'd probably tell you that doesn't make you a patriot at all. Just makes you a follower that moves when a man tells you to move. I think that's what Donald Trump behind the scenes would really say about characters like Jake Lang. And he only pardoned these characters is because they were fools enough to go out on a limb and break the law to some extent. Some broke the law, some was they just wanted to follow, but really didn't break the law that much, if that makes any sense. But Donald Trump's only pardoned these clowns because he feels indebted to them because they ended up getting criminal records behind supporting him. So he feels like to keep his base, let me show my base that I pardon people that have a patriotic mindset and that are willing to support the Trump movement, right? That's the only reason why Trump supported him along with the rest of the characters. Because if you were somebody from January 6th that got pardoned, would you be out in the streets causing chaos like this again? Or would you be humbled and say, hey, listen, I'm going to keep my opinions and my views to myself and put them to work at the voting booth, right? You don't got to go out here and tout that you were some January 6th clown just to get credibility. That's what Jake here is doing. And it's not respected at all.
Where were you? Did you stand for your country when they stole our vote?
So you think that made you patriot because you showed up there? Does that make you a patriot?
Joe
What's your
Biden,
solution?
Joe Biden is a
All you're doing is
pedophile.
condemning us. What's your
My
solution?
solution is to help people where they're weak. So we have an issue in young black males' lives across the country.
It's not
It doesn't
Say that
matter.
to Jeff
Nothing's
Metcalf.
changed. It's
Say
getting
that to
worse.
Jeff Metcalf.
We talk about it, man.
Say it.
At the end of the day,
so
the man
what
is
is
asking.
his-
So let me ask you this: you got a father who's grieving, and your response is he's weak.
My father is celebrating my strength right now.
You have no idea. You'll never win the Senate. And what I'll do, I'll come to Florida and run for Senate and run as a Republican, and I'll kick your butt.
No,
you
you
need 2
lose,
years.
bro.
You need 2 years of
Guaranteed.
residency
You
in
lose.
Florida.
Because this
first of all.
behavior is why
First
we're in
of
the
all.
situation where we are.
No.
We get these. Is that what it is? Okay. Well, at the end of the day, he's asked you what to do and what not to do.
Listen,
you have a right to
he's
do it
no
or not.
longer
do it.
You
Austin
can say
Metcalf.
that about
I love
Austin
Austin.
Metcalf, but we're gonna get.
You don't know Austin and love Austin.
I love somebody
You
enough
love
to
the
be
thought
strong
of
with.
using Austin
No.
for T-shirts, for propaganda, and to get out here and talk about
You
who
want to
you
shut
are.
down a white
Exactly.
man right now? That's what you're trying to do. No, you're not shutting me
I'm not
down.
raising money like
Because
Karmelo
I got
Anthony.
family.
I'm not
I'm not
raising
gonna
money
put
like
you put down
Karmelo
anymore.
Anthony.
No, bro, you
finance
stop.
Characters like Jake Lang make it difficult for black folks in particular to convince other black folks why it's cool to vote for Donald Trump or support Donald Trump. Because when people like Jake Lang show their whiteness on full display, that's why it makes it so hard for blacks to test the side of the Republican Party. Because, the fear is being called a sellout, a coon. You want to know a real coon? A real coon is the character that's speaking out loud here that has a black face, but obviously he's totally something different internally, right? That's a coon, in our opinion here. But hey, to each his own.
You came here to try to shut him down.
No, I
That's
came
what
in to
this
give him a
is.
message from a father.
And listen,
but I realized
Nah,
that's
bro.
not his deal.
Let's be
message-
honest. You're a black man trying to shut him down. 'Cause of
I'm
what
an
he's
American
saying.
first.
No, man. You don't
I'm an
really think
American.
that.
No,
I am. You're
I'm an
not.
American.
I am.
That's
You're
what I
not.
am.
That's why I'm here.
See how he said he's an American and Bruce Carter's not? Bruce Carter said, I'm an American. Mr. Coon guy over here said, you're not, I am. Because the Coon guy believes he is a white male, people. He believes he's a white male. If y'all feeling me on that drop, Drop it in the comment section below. He believes he's a white male. Why wouldn't he just say, hey, listen, I'm an American too? He distinctly said, you're not. Because he thinks he's different. And these guys are basically the same shade. You can't make this up, people. You can't make this up.
You want to silence him.
No,
you want to
I'm
shame
an American
him.
that
I've seen it
says
happen
this
over and
foolishness
over.
here
It's not
doesn't work.
foolishness.
That's what
You've
it
done
is.
nothing. You have not worked on
haven't.
anything. It's not changed nothing. We're here to try something different to stop this,
So what's
bro.
the difference?
The difference is we're actually coming out here with courage.
Saying what?
And you just want to silence
what?
people.
No.
Saying that white people cannot be put down
Look,
anymore.
I
White people
listened to
cannot
you.
be silenced
I listened
anymore
to you
like
for
this.
2 hours.
Yeah.
It wasn't substantive.
And you were raging. It
you
was.
had more people
You
paying
were
attention
raging.
to the
What
foolishness.
substance is then? What substance
The
is?
substance is this. We have two.
This guy here on the left is this. He is this. He is absolutely a big dummy. No question about it. No question about it. And it's a shame. It's a real shame.
2 kids, one dead, the 17,
Yeah.
another one who's in jail.
He's a murderer.
And you
He's
had
not in jail.
It happens all the time.
Who's been
He's
charged?
only in
We
Cheetos.
tried your way. It happens again and again and again and again and
At the
again.
end of the
It
day,
doesn't stop.
Hold on. At the other day is this. You probably bought that hat for me. Those flags, I probably sold you those flags.
You're not a
So
Trumper,
you have
brother.
no-
You're not a Trumper. I understand.
See, he says he's not a Trumper. He's only saying that because he's not white. Jake Lang believes only white people can be Trumpers. If anybody else can prove otherwise, drop it in the comment section below. Otherwise,
Big dummy.
that's what you are. You're just this.
You big dummy.
Understand what being a Make America Great Again patriot means, and it means addressing.
What does it mean?
It means addressing
What does
issues
it mean?
without being a pussyfoot around it. Don't tap dance around the issues. Address it. Black people are killing white people in this country, and it needs to stop.
Yeah.
We are being predatorized in our own country. We are being.
See, what he's doing now is he's putting a target on black folks' backs by speaking this type of rhetoric. Like black people, black males in particular, are purposely out there hunting down Caucasian white males or females. You can't put damaging statements out like this because it will cause racial divide and violence. We do not condone that here over at Real Vision TV, and that's why we're livid with Jake Lang's approach. It's trash.
Predatorized in our own country, and it's a weakness from Jeff Metcalf and people like you that is continuing the culture. Condemn Karmelo Anthony, condemn. Why are you confronting me? What if
not
call Jeff
confronting. I told
Metcalf
you
and
the
say
truth,
there's a
no.
young black man with a Karmelo Anthony jersey
gonna
on,
show you something.
parading his son's death. When I'm standing strong
I
against
just
the
Googled
murderer.
my name in Trump. Since you say
I'm
I'm not
standing strong
no,
against
listen,
the murderer.
I want
Who
you to
cares
learn.
about-
I know.
President Trump pardoned
I got you.
President
It
Trump
doesn't matter, guys.
President
Oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
No,
President
you,
Trump
no,
would
you
have left
probably
me
shouldn't have got
behind.
pardoned. He probably
You're
should
not
have gave you a
President
pardon.
Trump.
No, I'm a man.
You're a
That didn't
nobody.
want him. You're not Trump
Nobody
supporter then. If you're
knows.
talking about Trump
So the
support,
problem
you're
is
not
this.
getting due
No.
process. You're not getting impartial.
Here's the
fair
problem
trial.
right here.
Dude, he's a waste.
You all follow a man off the cliff.
No.
I'm a man. I will
said
call anybody
Donald
wrong.
Trump did not
It doesn't
make that
matter.
stand.
You won't call them wrong.
Who won't?
Listen, you just want to
When
silence
Trump is
him.
wrong, I'll call
I'm
Trump
being
wrong.
a racial tribalist. I see right through you. Being a racial tribalist.
Hey, look.
Too much
Let me ask
peanut
you-
gallery.
Yes, sir. What you
Too
got?
much peanut
Yes, sir.
gallery.
Was it wrong for me to tell that woman to be quiet?
It was wrong for her to spray you with that mace.
All right, so me standing up for what I believe
I'm good.
and getting sprayed for it is
And
wrong.
she's wrong, so hopefully you press charges and she's prosecuted.
So was Donald Trump wrong for pardoning me in the January 6th?
I don't know your role, but if your role,
I had the most violent charges of all
You're
the
just
January
mad
6th.
that we're calling out
Yes.
black people for
Okay.
doing bad
So
things.
you don't
That's why
agree
you're
with being
wrong,
a
man.
1776
That's why you're
patriot and
mad.
fighting for your
Because you're
country?
calling out black
agree
people
with
for
Would you
doing wrong.
believe the founding fathers are right to
the
go
founding fathers
against
were right
tyranny?
on some things and they were wrong on some
I'm
things.
talking about tyranny. Were they right against standing against tyranny?
No,
Are we
but
right against
your
standing against black
rationale is
violence? It
tyranny.
is tyranny. We are living in tyranny. It is the same
if
tyranny.
your concerns
Yo, I'm telling you, people, it's baffling the fear that these white folks create for themselves because of their guilt of their past discretions. Right? They are in fear because they have guilt of what they've done to people. And Jake Lang is one of these characters out here on these streets creating racial divide along with fellow other trash who, quite frankly, need to be locked back up. He should have not been pardoned. He's a troublemaker. He's an opportunist. And more importantly, he's a loser.
About
It is the same tyranny.
If your concerns about black violence, why are you not
racism
talking
against
what's going
white
on in
people.
Atlanta? Why are you not talking about what's going on in Philadelphia? Why are you not talking about going to Memphis?
I'm talking about black
here
violence
today.
against
We're here
white
today.
Americans.
That's the reason why.
Yes, sir.
You want to
Yes,
talk
sir.
about cities. Detroit is one of the most unlivable cities in America.
Yep.
Up until the 1950s, Detroit was called the Paris of the West. Why is that?
Hold up.
Look at this black kid with a White Lives Matter shirt.
It is unlivable due to black crime, and every minute that you say that that's not an issue, you are
No.
running cover for
Black
those black
crime
criminals.
is an issue, period.
Of course, and
Okay,
that's
but
what
I
we're
represent
saying.
my community against white people.
So your community only white people? How can you be the
It's not only white people. That's not what he's saying.
I have a community that I
saying
represent.
white people are being
I also
targeted.
represent other communities.
Bro, you're being
Republicans.
disingenuous.
I represent
Well, I'll say
other
this.
communities. But I have a core identity. I am a white American.
I'm an
So what?
American, period.
Okay.
I'm not a black
Well,
American.
guess
I'm
what?
white.
Maybe trying to
Maybe
shut him
you
down.
identify
Maybe trying to
as
shut
a
him
white
down.
American.
Yes, you are.
I tell you what,
See, he wants to clearly keep saying he's a white American. He thinks being white American is different than being a black American. And we know that there's a difference in that. When it shouldn't be. But he knows there's a difference in that. And he wants to continue to tout his white privilege under his cheap suit. His suit is cheap. And his attitude is even cheaper.
Look,
You are a
trying to
black
run him
man.
off.
I
His
see
dad-
it.
his
You
dad
are a black man.
asked
No
him
matter,
what not to
no
do.
matter
He
you put a
gets to do
cowboy
what
You
you
called him
hat
and let him
on
to get him to
say
say
that.
that.
You
His dad even see the event.
community.
let me ask you
You're
something.
mad
You can't
because no,
change that.
hold on. You're mad because he's calling out black people for doing
No,
wrong. Yes,
I
you
don't
are.
care, son.
You care. That's why you're here right now. That's why
I
you
call
came
out
here.
black people
We're not
every
stupid.
day.
We see what.
Do you see the action, the anger in this black man sticking up for a white guy? Doesn't this remind you of that house Negro? That's what he is. He's the house coon Negro that they whip him every few hours out of the day and tell him he needs to stay in his place. That's who he is. Don't get it twisted, people. That's who he is.
You're doing.
One question.
We see what you're doing.
Should
I
Karmelo
know you
Anthony...
have white family members like I do, but I'm tired of it.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
Should
I'll be
Carmelo
here today if that was the
Anthony
case.
You'd be
be
surprised.
behind bars right now, waiting trial? Should Carmelo Anthony be sitting behind
No,
bars
because we have a
waiting
bond
trial?
system in America.
We have a what?
We have a bond system in America.
Okay, so he was afforded bond when I had to spend $1,400.
See, he wants to make it about himself again. Nobody cares about the time you spent in jail, Jake, prospectively and opinionated on our end here. We think you're a loser who deserves to still be locked up. So we don't care about your comparison to how bond works in America. If you make bond, you make bond. If the courts feel you're not a threat, they will let you out. It's that simple. That shouldn't be tied to race. It shouldn't be tied to anything else except how it's supposed to be in the court system.
167 days.
Could you
I
not
put
get a
up
bond?
$2 million in property and cash. I do not have any injuries on my indictment. Why was I left?
$500,000 raised for Karmelo Anthony because he killed a white
So I
man.
have two problems.
What's your issue?
I have two problems.
Yeah.
So
no, hold on.
if
When
Karmelo
you see-
Anthony
when
was
you
your
see-
neighbor,
hold on.
would you allow your
Hold on.
children to go play with him right now? Carmelo's Anthony's neighbor. He's home on bond. Would you
Think
send your
about-
children over to go play Xbox with him right now?
I don't know the kid well
Exactly,
enough,
because
but-
he doesn't
No,
know
It's a
what
stupid
oh, wow.
question.
Okay.
Hold on.
I know what you were here
It's a
today.
stupid
You're
question.
just mad that he's pulling out the problem of black people killing white people. Yes, that's exactly what I think.
You don't see
You're
That's
for
something
black
you came
males
here to
winning.
start
How
some
about for
shit.
black males murdering? Are you against that?
100%.
I think
Okay,
that, I
so
think
why
Austin
Karmelo
was a,
Anthony? Why
was
is
a
he
black
being given the
kid.
opportunity to kill the next person that says, "Hey, can you get maybe move over a couple inches to your
my
left?"
question is this:
So,
at
murder.
what point, which you, I believe you're a constitutionalist.
Absolutist.
At what point do you respect the Constitution to say it's called due process? Let it walk through the courts. He's in Collin County.
Right.
He
Due
is a
process.
threat to the, he is a threat to the public.
To who?
He's a
For
threat to the
17
public.
years,
After you
you
kill
white
someone, you
threat.
don't get out on bail. That should not have happened.
So you're saying anytime you kill someone, you don't get out on bail?
He's saying he clearly murdered someone. Even said he stabbed him. He should not get out on bail. He's a danger to the community. If I killed your son, would you want me out on the streets right now?
You kind of agree with me?
I kind of agree with you on
Let
the
me say
bond.
this.
The issue is, no, hold on.
See, this guy got sense here, and he's a little in over his head because he realized that he really doesn't fully share the same sentiments as the rest of these race baiters that he's surrounded by. So he's trying to like ease the pain a little bit by letting Bruce Carter know he's really not like the rest of these guys, but he does have his own opinions, and we can respect that here at Real Vision.
I kind of agree with you on the bond, but no, hold on.
Murderers getting
don't want you to be a man.
Hold
He
on.
wants you to
That's
follow
not what
the
I'm
law.
saying. That's not what I'm
righteous.
saying.
Righteous.
What I'm
Silence
saying,
it.
what I'm
It's
saying
true.
is that you're being silent about the issue of black crime. You're
Exactly.
saying, oh, what about
Yes,
Detroit?
you
What
are.
about St. Louis? Those cities
Being a
are
racial
unlivable.
tribalist.
Those cities are unlivable. not 'cause of the
So you
Indians,
just said
not 'cause
I'm
of
being
Chinese.
silent.
I
I'll
think
tell you what
are.
I'm doing
I
since
think
you don't
you're
know
running
me.
cover for
Since you
black
don't know
crime.
me.
You're running cover for
So
black
since
crime.
you don't know me, Google my name,
I
Bruce
don't care.
Carter, Black
I can-
on Black Crime.
I
Hold
can
on.
Google his
and
name. It doesn't matter.
I'm holding a meeting this Tuesday
Okay.
where I've called on the mayor, the city manager, Dallas County, and DISD.
Do something
because
real
you
and
have a
say,
problem.
get
And
that
it's
man
done
back in
nothing.
jail if you're going to hold a
He
meeting.
doesn't need to be in jail. son.
Okay, so then put your kids over. Let's schedule a play date. Your father, let's schedule a play date. He's not a danger to the
He's so
community.
immature,
Let's
man.
schedule a play date.
This guy's
My name is
immature.
Bruce Carter.
Let's schedule a play date.
So here's
Carmelo
my-
Anthony and little baby Bruce.
Why did they
Carmelo
let him go?
Anthony, little baby
You
Bruce.
should go.
No, you should
No,
go.
this is the problem.
You
Y'all
came here to
want-
try to
y'all
shut
want-
something
no,
down
no.
because he's calling
I
out black
came here-
people
I
for
came-
this shit they've been
I'll let you
doing.
finish.
That's the
I'll let you
reason why.
finish. I'll let you
He's
finish.
calling out black
I'll
people
let
in a
you
way.
See how he's talking like black people is not him? Like he's talking as if he's not a black person. He said you're calling out shit that you're mad because he's calling out shit that black people's been doing. He didn't say you're calling out shit that people that look like me's been doing. He's even trying to like separate himself from black people. And I'm telling you, this guy is the ultimate coon master. He's not even a coon. He's the master of the coons.
You don't like.
What I
But every
came to
word he
do-
said is true.
what I came
It's
to
a
do
fact. That's
was
all
this.
that matters.
Sleep
Every
over at
statistic
Karmelo
is
Anthony's
true.
house.
That's all that
Bring the
matters.
pop-
So what I came to do was to see if this man had the decency
Sleep
to
over at
respect the
Karmelo
father.
Anthony's.
But you don't.
Sleep
That's
over at
the
Karmelo
whole
Anthony's.
mission.
It's not about Austin.
Bring your
It's
own
bigger
knife
than that.
sharpener.
It's a nationwide
Whether
problem.
you use your
It's
kid,
a
use your
nationwide
family.
problem.
Don't use this
That
kid.
was just for here. It's everywhere. I talked about my friends and my family as well. If you want to talk about Austin, if you want to request that doesn't talk about Austin, that's cool. But you're trying to shut him down because he's calling out black people for what they're doing.
I came. I let it
You
spoke
came
for
out and
2
tried to-
hours.
you tried to
I
lead
never-
him, you
matter
tried
of
to
fact-
humiliate, you tried to
matter of
silence
fact,
him, bro. I see
He
you.
said that he wanted to interview me. I never approached him. He asked me.
Nah, bro,
I was
you
gonna
came
put
to
him to the
him.
side.
You came to him.
He
Yo,
said.
you came. You're full of shit.
No, so I came for that reason. My point is this, guys. At some point,
We share
do
the
your,
same
do your
goals.
mission.
Yeah,
do
we
your
share the same
mission.
goals.
All I'm telling you is what the man said. He asked you not
After
to
I'm
do
done
it.
addressing him, I'll address him.
That's it. No, I'm good. You already told the dad to go screw himself in your own words.
He didn't
And
say
the
that.
man
Exactly.
told you,
Didn't say
the
that.
man told you
I
to
said
hurt
his weakness is going to create the next Austin Metcalf. 100%. That's what he
Hey,
said.
God bless your
May
trip.
God bless
y'all
you.
be safe.
Amen. In
Do
the
y'all
name of
thing.
Jesus.
But at the end of the day, that's a father who made a request.
It's okay.
Have a good one.
We're gonna pause out on that. I think that what you guys got a chance to see is just pure ignorance at its height, right? During the time of grief, chaos like this shouldn't be taking place, right? When it does, it's because you got a group of people or individuals that have their own personal agenda at hand, and they're willing to use people as martyrs, right? And it's a shame that still even today, people have yet learned how to coexist with one another, love their neighbors, respect their neighbors. But no, we have to deal with Jake Langs who want to constantly create divide. Now, do other people create divide beside the Jake Langs of the world? Yes, they do. But today we're talking about the Jake Langs. And Jake Lang should be ashamed of himself. And if you guys ever see his name on the ballot in Florida, make sure you run far as way as possible, because this guy is not respectable. All right. For those of you who liked the video, again, like I said, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Till next time, we out.